Welcome to Seller Sessions. I am your host today, Sharon Evan, and I'm so excited to be back. I had 2 weeks off because I had COVID and then I had a really bad sinus infection, and today's my last day of antibiotics and I'm a lot better. So I'm excited to be back. I hope that you guys have all had an awesome last 2 weeks and I'm happy to be back. Anyway, in today's podcast, so I was supposed to have a guest on, but because things got shifted, it sort of mucked everything up. So I'm flying solo today. And I decided that I want to talk today about market tracking and why it's important to track your market and why it's important to understand. A lot of people I find are so focused about just their specific product and they forget to track their entire market. So I want to explain A, why it's important, and B, how to do it. So we're going to start with, I'm going to move myself here for those of you that are watching the video so that you can listen to me and not read what's on my screen first. So market tracking or seeing your market as a whole, why is it important? So the first reason it's important is because we are selling on Amazon. We're not selling on, most of us are selling on Amazon listening to this. Some of you may be also selling on your website, which is fine. But when you're selling on Amazon, you have competition. You're not the only one that people see on a search page. You have competition. And therefore, what happens left and right and up and down from your listing on a search page matters. Who your competitors are matters. If you were to be sending all traffic to a website and you don't have competition on your actual website, it's a different story. But on Amazon specifically, in any business, you need to track your competitors, etc. But especially on Amazon, you have to stay updated with what is happening with your market. So a lot of people may say to me, for example, Sharon, sales have gone down dramatically and what's going on, etc. But then I may have a look at their market and I may have a look at the keywords and I may look at their market as a whole. And it's actually a niche thing. Currently at this point in time or that specific moment, the entire niche is seeing a decrease in sales. Or sometimes it may be that someone's sales have gone down dramatically, and that's because a new competitor has come in with the same sort of bundle that you have as an example, and they are $10 less than you. Or something has happened in the niche, or let's just say that the biggest competitor that has thousands and thousands of reviews has done up their listing, they've changed their images, they've put their price down, whatever, and that's then gone and impacted and affected your sales as well. So it is extremely important to keep track of your market, and when anything is happening with your listing that is out of the ordinary, to always compare, to go in and have a look. Well, what's happening with your competitors? Has something happened? And it's kind of funny the amount of people I'll ask them, okay, well, has anything happened in the last 2 weeks? Has a competitor put their price down? Has a new competitor come in? Has something happened to your ratings? Have you gone from 4.5 stars to 4 stars? Has everyone put their price down and you're still at the very, at like $10 more than everyone or whatever it may be? And the amount of people that don't know, I think that it's a problem. You have to be tracking your market. So the way that you can track your market is obviously you can just go into Amazon and look at different keywords and do it yourself. But another way that you can do this, so I used to use a tool called Totalytics. It was an amazing tool. It still exists on the market, but it's kind of irrelevant now that Helium-10 has market tracker. And I did a really in-depth tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to use Totalytics. In general, I think it's a great video to watch because you can, see how a tool like that works. But I also would say that Market Tracker on Helium-10 is something that is probably, in my opinion, one of the best tools to track your market. There are probably many other tools out there. Whatever tool you have, it's great. You don't have to have a tool. You can go in and track these things yourself in an Excel sheet. But why would you if you can, track it with a tool? And if you know me or if you follow me, I'm not someone who really promotes tools that much or anything like that. So if I'm talking about a tool, then it's probably because it's worth it. So that's why I think that market tracking is so important. And that's if you're already selling. If you are looking to start a new brand, or if you're looking to start a new product, then of course market tracking is really important for that as well. So that you understand who is the competition, what is the potential in market share, what is the market cap or the volume, etc. So for that side of stuff, I've put together some explanations here. So a lot of the time I'll say market cap and people don't know what I mean. So the market cap is usually terminology that is used in the stock markets. And if you Google market cap, you'll get a response like the market capitalization, commonly called a market cap, is the total market value of a publicly traded company's outstanding shares and is commonly used to measure how much a company is worth. However, this is e-commerce/retail, and we want to know what the market cap or volume of a market that we're looking into, what is it? Meaning, what is the monthly estimated total revenue in our entire market? You could also decide to track only a small portion, the ones that are really bringing in most of the money. However, it's best to track as much as possible. And this information can show you what is the estimated max volume for the niche or product as a whole. What is potential in market share, and why is it important to know, what is the potential market share? Or if you're already in a product, what is your market share? Sometimes you may think that you're selling really, really well. And actually, if you were to look at the niche as a whole, you'd actually see that, well, wait a minute, you've only got like 0.5%. And if you just make, possibly put your PPC up or just make a small change to your current listing, or maybe you can add this one little thing to your product and it will be more valuable to the buyers or whatever it may be, you'll be able to take some more of that market share and increase your revenue. And if you don't know what's going on within your entire niche, it's hard for you to keep up with that. And a lot of time, especially older sellers, people that have been selling for, a good couple of years, a lot of time they don't do this because they're doing well. They forget to look at their competitors and to track their market as a whole. Maybe when you got into your specific niche, the market cap was $1 million and it's become a lot more popular over the last year, and today the market cap's $2 million. But because you're not doing anything to keep on top of things, your market share is staying the same, but you could be having more market share and you're just not keeping on top of your market. I hope that made sense. Anyway, and the above two pieces of information together can show you the potential and relative share from the entire market revenue and how much room there is to grow. So how can you know the market cap or volume of a niche? In order to know the potential in market cap/volume, you need to see the niche as a whole beyond just page one. And in order to do this, we need some information. I took that from something I made. So in order to know the market cap, we'll need to have at least 5 top keywords for the niche to be able to use something like Market Tracker on Helium 10, and at least 1 to 5 ASINs to use as an example to be able to use for Market Tracker in Helium 10. If you're not going to use a software to do this and you want to do this yourself, then you would need to go in and honestly create an Excel sheet for this and keep up with what is the estimated revenue over a period of time. I honestly don't know how to do this on an Excel sheet on your own, because I don't know how you can get all of the information that something like a tool can give you. Before I found the tool in I think it was 2019 called Tatalytics, I did used to have an Excel sheet where I would go in and I would write what were the estimated sales of my top competitors, but I didn't track the market as a whole. So I didn't necessarily know about a competitor that's coming in, let's just say on page 5. And why does that matter? Because sometimes a competitor that's just come in, so actually I'll tell a story here. One of our niches, probably, I think this happened like 2.5 years ago, their sales started to go down on a few very specific products. And I couldn't really see why. And that was because later on I started using Tatalytics, the tool, and it really helped me to understand that the days that my sales were going down, there was a very specific new product that their sales were going up. And you could just see a pattern there that when we go up, they go down. When we go down, they go up. And this was a new product. And I hadn't even seen this product because I wasn't tracking the market. And it was because this specific product had slowly creeped up on us. They had more or less copied our branding, and they had not enough for me to be able to sue them, but they had more or less copied our branding. They had more or less copied the way that our part of our differentiation, and they had slowly creeped up on us without me noticing because I wasn't keeping on top of the market at the time. And they'd started to get good amount of reviews, etc. And they were targeting us and sponsored in ASIN targeting. They were probably doing it through auto at the time, but they were showing up on our listing. They were showing up on many, many different keywords. And slowly they had creeped up, and I wasn't even tracking them. They weren't even on my radar because, I'd been selling this product for such a long time, and I wasn't even adding this product to, something that I would track. And then when I started tracking it using a tool, I suddenly found out that this is someone that I have to, kick their butt and get rid of. So why is it helpful to have a tool? Because then, if let's just say you've got a new competitor that's come in and currently they're on page 5, page 7, whatever, and you don't even know about them, and the only time you're going to know about them is probably in a couple of weeks if they're good at at Amazon, once they start to creep up onto the pages that you show up on, and once they start getting reviews and they start putting money into PPC and blah 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 and all that stuff, only then will you really know about them. But when you have a tool like Helium 10 Market Tracker, for example, then you're able to track the market. So I'm going to show you guys. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, from here onwards, I'll do my very best to explain what we're seeing on the screen. But I would encourage you to find this on the Seller Sessions YouTube channel and just have a look at, probably the next 10 minutes of what I'm going to explain, because I'm going to be using the tool. So I have been using this tool I've been tracking this market, I think, for about a year. It's the stethoscope case market. How does this tool work, or any other tool that tracks a market? So usually back in the days, especially in the jungle scout, I forgot the name for it for a second, especially in the jungle scout days, the way that it would usually work is you would track a market by yourself, as in you would go and you would look at keywords, you would find specific ASINs that you want to track, and then you'd go and you'd put it into a tracker and you would track them. But then you're only tracking a small portion of that niche, and it's not the niche as a whole. And maybe there are also products that are still your competitors, but they get most of their sales from totally different keywords from you, and maybe that would have also been an opportunity for you to learn about these other keywords. And I can go on and on about this. I'm extremely passionate about this, but I also don't want to, for it to be too much. So that's what it would do. That's what people would do back in the day. And then slowly, Totalytics was the first. For those who don't know what I'm saying, it's total. It's like Total Analytics, but they called it Totalytics. And it's an Israeli software developer who created the tool. And then they turned into aggregators, so they don't really care about the tool that much anymore. Unfortunately, I've asked them many times to, change the way that it works, and they just said no. And in the meantime, Helium 10 made Market Tracker, so we may as well just use Helium 10 Market Tracker because it's almost as good. It's not as good, but it's good enough. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, back in the day, you would track stuff on your own. And the way that these tools work is you give it 5 ASINs, you give it 5 keywords that are most similar to your product. So if I sell a stethoscope case, then keywords like stethoscope case for nurses, stethoscope holder, stethoscope bag, stethoscope case, etc. are relevant keyword to a stethoscope case. And then I'd give it 5 ASINs, which would usually be the top ASINs. If I'm selling the product, I would also give it my ASIN, and I would tick it and say this, market as this is my product, so I can track my market share. And then what the tool does is every day it scans Amazon, and slowly it starts showing you products. And then as it shows you products, you then choose what is a product that you do is relevant to the niche and you do need to track, or if it's a product that may be ranking for that keyword but is not. So let's just say if there was a stethoscope coming up for the keyword stethoscope case, that is not my competitor. It could be it is a complementary product to my product, but it's not a competitor. So I wouldn't be tracking it. I don't care what their sales are. It's a stethoscope. It's not a stethoscope case. So I'm going to, again, I'm on the screen for those who are listening to this on the podcast. I'm going to where it says pending suggestions just to explain what it is that I mean. So the way that the tool works, let's just say that I have given it 5 ASINs, 5 keywords, and then it's going to go for about 24 hours and just going to track. And it will come back and it will give you a page that looks like the screen right now. We have a pie chart here and 2 line charts. I'm like 90% sure these are called line charts. Anyway, and then one shows you the market volume, one shows you the market share. What is your market share in a pie chart? What is the market share in what I'm 90% sure is a line chart? Maths is not like my top subject. I'm good at it, but it's not like my main thing. Anyway, and then it starts showing you a whole bunch of products that you decide what do you track and what do you not track. And it will be products, and it will start with products that are on page 1, and it will slowly show you heaps of products on page 50, products on page, every product that it considers to be a competitor. And the more that you choose the right types of products, the more it learns what kind of products to show you. Now, I've been tracking this specific niche for a year. It still shows me stethoscopes, you can see here. So it's showing me a stethoscope case. A stethoscope I would ignore because I don't sell a stethoscope. I don't even sell a stethoscope case. It's just an example product that I always use. Okay, now it's showing me here a stethoscope. Sorry, it's showing me a nurse starter kit that has a stethoscope case inside of it, but it's a whole bundle of a whole bunch of other products. I'm not going to track this product because it's a bundle. It's got a whole bunch of products. It's got, a stethoscope and blood pressure monitor and a whole bunch of things. As I scroll down, it's going to then eventually, hopefully show, okay, here. It's now showing me, I've just scrolled down and it showed me a whole bunch of products that were to do with like other nurse products, like a nurse fanny pack and a stethoscope and lots of different stethoscopes, which I would not track because they're not a part of the market that I'm trying to track. They're complementary products, but they will not go into the market cap or the estimated market volume that I'm trying to track because it's not the same product. But here it says hard protective stethoscope holder. This is a stethoscope case, and I would want to track this. And now I'm seeing on the screen a few more stethoscope cases that I would track because they are a part of the niche. Now, again, I've been tracking this for, I don't know what that is yet. I've been tracking this for about a year, and still, almost every day there's a few new stethoscopes cases to track. Some are variations that people have bought out that are best sellers. Some are just brand new products, and one day I then saw a new stethoscope case that was different from all the rest. So if I was already selling this product, I want to know about this one person that's made a much better, product than all of us. I want to be able to track them and keep on top of them. And then I can also target them, ASIN targeting from the beginning before everyone else already knows about them, because I already know about them because I'm tracking the market. Okay, so if you're watching this on the screen, then you can see that I just added a few more products to track. It says product suggestions currently because I've been tracking this market for a long time. But I don't keep up with tracking it because it's not actually my product, but I do track my own niches. It says 291 pending products. A lot of them are not relevant, so I would take them out. Those that are relevant, I would track. I'm going to go back to the actual tracking, so tracked products. And then we can all see, again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm going to do my best to explain. So tracking, I'm currently tracking 281 products. And for stethoscope case, it's showing me that from what I am tracking, okay, and I'm tracking most of the niche, it shows me that the market cap is $2.8 million. I have pretended as if one of the products is mine. So I've clicked on a product and pretended as if it was mine. If I was actually selling this product, then I would obviously be tracking my own product. If I am using this tool for the sake of product research, then I would be tracking the product in which I would be comparing myself to. Now, you're not going to track the product that has 10,000 reviews and, is totally not in any way going to be at the same level. You're not going to be on the same level as them. You want to be able to track something that is closest to what it is that you're going to be launching. Either going after the same type of buyer avatar, like if you're selling, I don't know, like let's just say I'm holding up a cup and you put a unicorn on it and that's part of your differentiation point, then you'd want to be tracking another unicorn one and not one that has, I don't know, like something totally different on it. Or whatever it may be. You want to track something that's going to be as similar to yours as possible. Anyway, but if you're already selling this product, which most of you that are listening are probably already going to be selling products and you may just not be tracking your market, then you track your own product. The one thing I haven't tried is whether you can track two products. I've just clicked on this. Okay, you can track more than one product. I've only just thought about that right now, that I don't know if you can, but it shows that you can. Okay. I don't want to confuse myself, so I'm just going to stick to as if you have one product in that specific niche. Also from what I know from using Helium 10 Market Tracker, if you have variations, you would need to, it's a tougher one because when it comes to variations, no tracking tool or software that I know of knows how to, because they all have they share the same type of BSR. They don't know exactly how much a variation actually makes. So when you have a variation, it's not going to give you the exact number of market share. The market share is going to be wrong. So you need to take that into consideration. But you can obviously take what is more or less the market volume, more or less, and try and obviously figure out by what your actual revenue to be. Then you can try and figure out what is your actual market share. But let's just say if you don't have a product with variations, it's a little bit easier for me to use this as an example at this point in time. Then it shows you here the market volume. Now, the longer you track a market for, and this is what I absolutely loved when I would use this on Totalytics, because it would show this a lot more in depth. Like Helium 10 could take this up a level and do what they used to do. But anyway, the longer you track this for, the more you can also see the market as a whole. So I'm currently going through the history of the market share, the market volume here. And I can see, and obviously the more you track, the higher the market volume obviously will be. But as long as you're tracking, the ones that are making the most money, you'll still be able to see what the market volume is there. I can see that in 2001, the market share when I was tracking 234 products was around 1.5 million. And then in September, it went up to around 2.3 million, and then it went back down. And then I can see that at around now, actually, in the last 2 months, the market cap has gone up a lot. Now, if I was actually selling this product myself, I'd know a lot more about the buyer avatar. Maybe something happens in January, February to specifically nurses, which is mostly who buy the stethoscope cases. Maybe they finish exams, maybe, I don't know, whatever, they're starting new jobs and new places, and that's why they're at the market. I don't know the history of this niche to a T. If I was selling it, then I would, and then I'd know. Or I can also see the growth of a market as well by tracking this. Market share and knowing what your market share is compared to your competitors is something that you can see here as well. And then you can also, this is a picture of what's happening now. There's a pie chart here for those listening on the podcast. And it's showing me what is the market share that each one of the bigger sellers has, and then what is the market share of the smaller sellers. So I can see that there's, one seller here that has around 4.7% market share off that 2.8 million market cap. Another one has around 4.4, and then the product that I pretended as if was mine has a market share of about 0.5. So if that was actually my product, I could go in and strategize and make a plan for how I can steal a bit of market share. Not always can you can't always. Sometimes, it's very product dependent, but sometimes you can make a plan and go in and steal some of that market share by, making certain changes, whether it be with your PPC and the way that you're using your PPC, or whether it be different marketing tactics, etc. And then you can also see your market share compared to everyone else's market share over a period of time. So I can see here on a per day level what was everyone's market share at a period of time. And then you can also see, if you've only ever just been looking at the history of the BSR of a competitor, if you're able to take that and compare that also to this, then it will also help you to see over time how either your product or a competitor's product has been impacted as new sellers have come in. So maybe when you're looking at a specific competitor, you're seeing that, or even on your own product, you're seeing that the BSR had started, which obviously would usually represent that sales have either gone up or down, has highly been impacted ever since, I'm going to make it up, July 2021. And you can't really find a reason for that. The reviews hadn't been impacted, hadn't been affected or anything like that. But if you're tracking the market over time here and you can see, well, wait a minute, suddenly, a new ASIN shows up and it's suddenly taking a part of that market share, then you know why either your product or somebody else's product had been affected. So to sum things up, it is, in my opinion, and experience, extremely important to track your market and look at your market always as a whole. And you have to find a way to track it, whether it be using a tool like Helium 10's market tracker, or whether it be, making up your own Excel sheet, which would be a lot harder, in my opinion. Or maybe there's other tools out there that I don't know. Totalitics, which is what I use, which is even more in depth than Helium 10's market tracker, still exists. The only downside to that is it costs $40 per market, which sucks. It's a lot of money just to track one market only. Maybe they've made a little bit of changes, I don't know, but if they haven't, then I would just use Helium 10 because it makes more sense. If you just have this one product or sell this one niche, then you could do that. Anyhow, summing things up, the reason it's so important, in my opinion and experience, to track the market is so that when there's ever anything going on within your niche, so that you can understand why something has happened. When you only are focusing on your own product and what is happening with your own product, it's a problem, because your product isn't a representation of what's happening in the entire niche. You have to understand what's happening in the entire niche to then know why your product may not be performing well. Sometimes it's beyond just looking at your own PPC. When you're looking at your search term reports and you see that suddenly you're not performing well on 3 or 4 keywords that you're always performing well on, well, maybe it's because something's happened in your specific niche. Maybe a new competitor has come in that you didn't even realize. Maybe one of your competitors has changed their price. Maybe this, maybe that. You gotta really track your market. I hope that I did a good job of improvising and showing this without preparing in advance for it. I have no problem making a really in-depth tutorial on how to use this, both for seller sessions and also, for my YouTube channel as well. If you guys, are interested in a more in-depth for this beyond just a podcast, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, if you listen to this on the podcast, I really, really would tell you to go find this on the Seller Sessions YouTube channel and watch what it is that I'm talking about. And in general, most of you guys probably have Helium 10. Just go in and look at Market Tracker. If you haven't been using it, you really should, and it can really help you. And that's it. I will see you all next week with one of my guests, and I will see you all also at Branded by Women and Seller Sessions Live in May. I'm so excited to be coming to London for that and meeting many of you there. Isabella will be back on Monday and Danny will be back on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all next Thursday. Look after yourselves and have an awesome weekend. Bye, everyone.